Welcome to the Women Writing Podcast. I'm your book coach, Liisa Kovala. I'm an author, accelerator, certified fiction and memoir book coach, and the author of Sisters Winter War, Surviving Stutthof, and the upcoming Like Water for Weary Souls. And as a Finnish Canadian, I love my coffee. Take a coffee break with us as we chat about all things writerly with authors and publishing industry professionals. In today's episode, I'm chatting with Kelly Watt. Kelly's collection of poetry and prose, The Weeping Degree, How Astrology Saved Me from Suicide, was published by Wild Rising Press and was a 5-star finalist in the Wishing Shelf Indie Book Awards. A frequent flyer on literary long lists, Watt has published 2 previous books, the Gothic novel Mad Dog and Camino Meditations by Hamilton Stone Editions. Watt has lived in 5 countries, but she now lives in Ontario with her partner and some diverse goldfish. You can find out more about her at kellywatt.ca. Hi, Kelly. How are you?
I'm good, Lisa. How are you? Thank you
I'm
for having
great.
me.
Oh, thanks for coming. I'm so pleased to see you. Um, so it's been a little while. We have communicated before because I had you featured in the Women Writing Substack news article. So we have
Yes, and
that.
thank you for that.
Yes. Yeah.
I really love those. I've been following those.
Oh, yeah, they're fun. I
And
love to see what people have to say about their writing routines and where they write. Do you have any special places where you like to write? Do you have a specific spot, or do you like to, um, just wherever you are?
no, I mean, I have a couple of different places depending
Yeah.
on whether I'm traveling or not. You can't see it because I've got only blue sky around me at the moment, which is something that's going on with my Mac computer. But I have an office in my house, and it's the biggest office I've ever had, and I love it, with an L-shaped desk. And I have an old a friend of mine got one of those old school portables,
Oh,
and I
right.
bought the blackboard from that. And so I've got the blackboard on the wall, and I can put all my plot structures and
Oh, I love
everything
that.
up there. Oh, I love it. It's the most wonderful thing. The only thing is, when I first got it, I started putting lists of things I needed to do. I filled the whole board, and
Right.
I would come into my office and go, ah.
Yeah.
So
A
now
little
I forgot to
daunting.
do that. So I just put mostly creative stuff up there. And so that's my basic place where I usually write. And if I'm reading a manuscript, I kind of move around the house. I try to change up the space, because it can feel like I'm sort of in here in my dark cave quite
Right.
often. And then when I travel, I just make do. I have
Yeah.
my little portable laptop, and
Yeah. Perfect.
off I go.
Amazing. Do you
Yeah.
have a writing routine? I'm always interested in that because there's lots of folks who want to write every day, or they have a specific time of day or a word count. And I'm just not that person. I would love to be that person. I just have never been able to make that work. How does that writing process work for you?
Yeah, I think it changes depending on where you are in your life, right? I mean, we just don't always have as much control over our time as we would like to have, depending on when you have small children, that sort of thing, pets,
Yes.
whatever. At the moment, I tend to go into my office every day. And then when we travel up north, I also work out on the porch there.
Mm,
And so I have this idea in my head that every day I'm going out and I'm looking at my computer and I'm doing my work.
right.
And I try to do that before I do all my email and everything else, but it's not
Right.
always possible. I mean, sometimes
Sure.
people are waiting for things. Sometimes you need to get back to
Yeah.
someone. Sometimes so yeah, that's I do just try to stick to it, though. And then now I'm learning. It's funny because I'm in a very different place now than I've been before. Now I'm learning I have to balance several different things when I'm in my office. I'm not just writing or editing. I'm also posting. I'm also setting up for teaching. I'm also starting something new, promoting an old book. So the balance has become a little more complex, let's say,
Right.
than it used to be. But I do try to keep to a basically every day,
Mm,
but that doesn't always happen. And then
right.
I forgive myself when it doesn't. I
100%.
found actually this year, because it's been a really busy year for me, found it really hard to take time off.
Oh,
And I
right.
realized you have to take time off, you have to rest.
Yeah.
And I had took a week holiday, and I went on what do you call it, media blackout. I
Okay.
just posted a picture of my unicorn floaty, and that was it.
Love
Just,
it.
and it was very rejuvenating to just
Yeah.
not be on social media, to not be checking this or that, not be watching the news every night, which is another
Yeah,
ritual I have, which can
for
be,
sure.
of course, really disturbing. And yeah, so
Yeah.
mostly every day, but with flexibility.
Yeah. And we were talking before we started recording that you have had a very busy year. Can you tell us a little bit about what that year has looked like for you?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was exciting. Well, August 2024, I launched a book called The Weeping Degree: How Astrology Saved Me from Suicide. It's my tongue-in-cheek subtitle. And it's a collection of poetry and flash prose. And we had the launch in Hamilton at the Staircase Theater, which was wonderful. And so I've been doing various events since then, readings. And I also went to San Miguel de Allende for the Writers' Conference,
Oh,
and I read at the bilingual poetry event there, and also put on a couple of different readings while I was in San Miguel. So that was a lot of fun.
amazing.
And yeah, I've done readings in Strasbourg, France, in San Miguel, in up north at the Artist Studio in Ottawa, and yeah, so all over. So it's been
Yeah,
really fun. And then I took the book on a podcast tour.
nice.
So I've been doing podcasts, and
Amazing.
I love it. I love talking to
Yeah.
people. It's a really wonderful thing, I think, because we're so isolated as writers. We spend so much time alone.
Mhm.
And that's why I really like your women writing. I mean, I love going in and listening to those things. In fact, I bribe myself. I tell myself, okay, you have to do this many emails, you have to get this much done, and you can go and play hooky and listen to people talking about writing, because
Amazing.
it's rejuvenating to hear
Yeah,
what people are going through, and especially
for
other
sure.
women. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's been a busy year. It's been an exciting year.
Oh, that's so amazing. I'm so excited for you. And your book has been
Thank
doing
you.
really great.
Yes.
And I love that you're listening to the podcast. And I feel exactly that we need to support each other and just to hear other people's experiences. Because I do think there's some judgment sometimes about um if I'm not doing it this way, then I'm not a real writer. If I'm not doing that. And then when you listen to people's experiences, it's all over the map. And people find ways to fit their writing in around work or children or whatever other circumstances. And it doesn't look like everyone else's plan. And that's perfectly fine. But sometimes we need
Yes.
that permission, you know?
Yes, exactly. And I mean, I've gone through periods of time where I was just fallow. I mean, I just didn't write for a while, and I have a job, a little mini job. It's part-time, but sometimes it does take over. So I have to
Right.
do things that they need me to do. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, I think you have to
exactly.
be flexible with yourself.
When did you first call yourself a writer? Do you remember?
Oh, wow.
Or did you always just feel that way from a young age? Or some people have a kind of a landmark time where they think, okay, I don't know. I think some people want think of that first publication or some have been writing since childhood. So it's kind of just like just taking it on as a I almost said title. It's not a title, but I feel like
An
that
identity.
term writer can be like, oh, I'm not like I've heard so many women say, well, I'm not a writer, but you know,
I know, I
and
know.
I'm like,
They've written
100%
four
you are.
books. I know, I know. I think there's it's funny because when I was a little girl, like so many writers, like I think you yourself,
Yeah.
I what did I do? Oh, I wrote my first book, and I guess it was around six, and it was had some ridiculous title like, Three Kittens in Their Bed or something.
Sounds
No,
delightful
no
already.
real plot. Lots of pictures. And my
Amazing.
great claim to fame is that I could draw the head of a cat in one, swoop,
Yes,
right? That was
that's
like
right.
a goal in childhood. And
Yeah.
so I loved stories. And my mother read me Dr. Seuss. And I fell in love with books around that age. But I don't think I gave myself permission. I think the idea of being a writer in those days, I'm dating myself now, I didn't know any Canadian writers. I
Right.
didn't know any women who were writers.
Right.
Really, when I went to school, women were still becoming stewardesses, teachers, and nurses, and not much else. And you weren't really encouraged. So I did have a long dance with, do I have permission to follow path, and many people tried to talk me out of it. It's a terrible way to make a living. It's really difficult. It's really challenging, et cetera, et cetera. And in the end, that just gave me more determination, I
I love
think.
that.
Yeah. I had to prove them wrong.
Yes, that's
But
right.
I think, yeah, in terms of when I really said I was a writer, I guess when my first book came out, it was called Mad Dog. And I did it with well, before that, I'd started publishing short stories in
Right.
different little places. And so I probably thought of myself as a writer by then, but officially when my first book came out.
Right.
And I did that book with Timothy Finley, who
Yeah.
has since passed away. He was such a wonderful writer through the Humber School for Writers,
Yes. Yeah.
which has been so helpful to so many people, a really really great
Absolutely.
school. So yeah, then I felt that I had his blessing,
Yes. Yeah.
and that, I
100%.
think that's, yeah, and that's probably why mentors and teachers are really important.
Absolutely.
Someone who says, yeah, you could do this, you could, this
Yeah.
is, I would read this.
Yes.
Yeah, that's that kind
Yeah.
of permission, I
And
guess.
what an amazing mentor to have, Timothy Findlay. Like, I mean, I just now looking back, I think, oh goodness. And I went to Humber as well, and I had Marina
Oh,
Endicott,
that's
who
great.
is just so lovely and just a wonderful human being. And you're right. Like you just feel, okay, I can do this. I can make this happen. And I think those individuals, those writers who are at a different stage in their career, it's so helpful for them to be mentoring newer writers and just keeping that, energy and flow continuing. I thought that was an amazing program.
Yes, it is an amazing program. I didn't hear who
Marina
was.
Endicott.
Oh,
Yeah,
wonderful.
right. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Love
And I
her
think
work.
also it's just this thing too, where like this is a real live breathing human being and a Canadian.
Yes,
And so therefore they figured it out. So therefore there must be some way I can figure it out.
that's right.
And it's, yeah, yeah, that
Yeah,
very human contact. And I think that's why maybe teaching is important, or coaching like you're doing,
yeah,
because it keeps you sort of in that groove and kind of passing
yeah.
it along, as it were.
100%. I feel like that there's kind of two elements, like, and I think you do some teaching and you do some editing. Is that right? With other
Yes, I
writers.
haven't been doing editing, but I have been doing some teaching.
Yeah.
I actually have some things coming up, so I'm pretty
Oh,
excited.
please.
Saskatchewan Writers Guild. I just got an email yesterday actually saying that I've been invited to teach a Zoom course. It's
Oh,
called
good.
Finding Your Epiphany. It's finding the flash in flash fiction. I really
Love
love
that.
that form, that flash prose form, little tiny stories. I really, my poetry book, The Weeping Degree, is full of them.
Mm.
And I really discovered that form in the pandemic, and I really enjoy it. So I'll be teaching that in on Zoom in, I think I've got 2 dates right now, in September, end of September, and also end of October. And there'll be some more coming up. So I want to
Amazing.
encourage people, please go to my website if you
Yeah.
can, www.kellywatt.ca, and sign up for
Perfect.
my newsletter, and I'll have them posted there where you go to sign up.
Yeah, absolutely great idea. And those
Yeah.
newsletters are so important because that's a great way for us as authors to be able to let people know where we are if we're in town or if we're doing something on Zoom. So sign up for people's newsletters. I'm always
I
encouraging.
know. I've signed up for a gazillion of them, but they're really, yeah. How else do you know what
How
people
else
are
do you know?
doing?
It's so hard these days to get the word out. So, I mean, there's so
Yeah.
many avenues. Maybe that's part of the problem is we have almost so much social media and we're not on all the things and we're inundated. But a newsletter comes into your inbox. So then it's more likely you'll be able to catch up with what's happening around you.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I'm very aware of the importance of not abusing that, not
right.
sending too many unless I have something important to say, because I don't want people to be overwhelmed.
Yeah, I hear
And you're
you.
right, there is a lot out there, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's also skimming.
Yes, yes, that's right. Yes,
Speed
absolutely.
reading.
I just always feel like on Facebook or Instagram, I follow a lot of people, but I don't always see their posts. Like, so I sometimes I've missed events because I didn't know that there was an event, but it was posted, but I just didn't happen to come in my feed. So that's why I think the newsletter is such a better opportunity for folks to figure out what's going on in
You
their
know,
communities.
Lisa, that's a really good point. I had someone tell me, a marketing guru tell me that even if you're really close friends with someone and you're always following them, you may see only 1 in 5 of their posts.
Right? Yeah.
So sometimes we feel like we're over announcing something, but
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes I'll pin a post because I know otherwise nobody's going to see it.
That's it. Yeah. It's such a
So
strange
yeah,
thing.
it's also the algorithm, right? We're all learning
Yes.
to dance with the algorithm.
Yes, exactly. So on the topic of promotion and marketing, um, what's your relationship with social media like? Are you good with it? You feel comfortable? Are you somebody who's maybe a little reticent to start that whole
I think,
journey?
yeah, good question. I think I was very reticent to start. And then I started following other writers, and I actually hired someone to give me some pointers with this book, The Weeping Degree.
Yeah,
And it became an international Amazon bestseller within the first couple of
amazing.
days that I launched it in August 2024, which was something that you could do in those days. And I have to say thanks to all my friends and family who supported the book because, of course,
Yeah,
they made that possible. But yeah, that was my first experience of really dedicating time to learning about marketing and accepting the fact that this is part of my job now. This is part of
yes,
our job as
yeah,
writers. We have to let people know we're out here, out there,
yeah,
and our work is out there. And it's against contrary to nature because most writers are introverts and they would like
mhm,
to just stay at home in their room, which is what I did for years. So I try to take it in little increments. I had this note that I used to put in my list of things to do, go on book talk, go on book
yes.
talk, go on book talk. I realized months went by and I never went on book talk.
Oh,
I
I
was like,
love
you
it.
know what? That's not happening.
Yes. Okay. Yeah,
So
that's
I
good.
actually cut back on
Yeah.
everything I was trying to do. And I go on Facebook and I go on Instagram and I belong to a bunch of different pages.
Right.
And then I have my newsletter, and occasionally I'll post something nonfiction like in LinkedIn. But
Right.
I found that if one of the pieces of advice I was given is that if you spread yourself too thin, you just make yourself crazy. And there's
Yes.
so many avenues out there, and it's very hard to keep up. And I like Instagram, although I haven't been as committed to it as perhaps I should be, because people do a lot of really wonderful creative things.
It's true.
And I love that. It's a really fun way to put visuals to poetry. And, I
Yeah,
love things like
true.
that.
Yeah.
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 But now there's a lot of adverts and whatnot. So you have to
Yeah.
be careful on what you click and what you post, and it's a constant learning curve. And even Facebook, I mean, things change all the time. You learn to do things one way. I follow a couple of publishing podcasts, and there'll be an announcement, oh well, the algorithm doesn't work that way anymore. I mean, Facebook or Amazon has totally changed that
Yes. Right.
algorithm now. So
Yes.
what worked last year is not going to work this year. You're going to have to do
Yeah.
something different. So
Right.
keeping up with it is you know,
Yeah.
there's a Mexican expression, poco a poco, which is little by little.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
about all I can
A
stand.
100%. I feel seen, Kelly, because I too I felt like I was on all the platforms at one point and not able to keep up with them. And it was no fun. And so I thought, okay,
Yes.
what do I actually like being on? So I sort of got off of all kinds of places that I didn't care for as much and just stuck to Facebook and Instagram. Facebook mostly because I have family and friends there and
Yes.
connections around the world, Australia, Finland, various places. So I thought I can't kind of give that up. And Instagram, I also like the visual aspect, like you said, the creative aspect of it. So I feel like maybe fewer things, but more, that provides you with an opportunity to focus on just a couple things and then try to enjoy it. Like, do not make it like a job, like you're actually interacting and connecting with people, and that's lovely. So that
Yes.
made a difference. But when I was on all these platforms, it wasn't fun. So
Exactly. That's what happens. And it starts to become a real drain. And
yeah,
as someone else said to me, if you pick one or two that you really focus on, then your chances of being able to do them well are,
yes,
better. And
absolutely.
the stress, the burnout is not
Yeah,
quite so
for sure.
high. I mean, I love what you do on Substack. That's also, of course, an
Oh,
amazing
well,
writer's platform.
Substack is, I find that a really, for those folks, I think there's a lot more Americans who are into Substack, and it's only now coming to Canada in a bigger way. I know that
Oh,
most of my followers are American, but a portion are Canadian. But I find it such a lovely community, like just a very
yes,
positive place, supportive
yes,
place. So
yes,
I do actually enjoy spending time there, and I like the
yes.
long form writing. Like I like to be able to write a newsletter and spend a little bit more time on it, um, and just communicate from the heart a little bit more than a tiny little Facebook post.
I
So
hear
I
you.
enjoy
And
it.
I also could relate to what you were saying about Facebook because I did my last year of high school in India. So I also have
Mhm.
friends. I went to school, I went to college or university in Strasbourg, France. So I have friends in different parts of the world. And
Yes,
that's one of the beauties of
yeah,
Facebook is that you really can stay in touch with those groups,
that's
which
right.
wasn't really possible before. So
No,
I
a
really
lot of letter writing in those days,
yes. Yes, a lot of
right?
letter writing, which is sad
Right?
too that we don't have
I
that anymore.
know.
But
Kind of love that, but also, yeah. And then we love to hate social media, but there's so many positive things about it and ways authors can use it to help people let know what we're doing and what it's like to write and promote our work and let them know that we're doing events.
yeah,
And
and
I
also
think it
you're
is can
creating,
be really lovely. It can be. It's just that I try to avoid all the negativity.
yeah, the controversies that come up
Yes,
in the backlash and the
yes,
trolls. Yeah, there is that whole
yeah,
shadow element
for
to
sure.
it. Yeah, and the positive, as you say, I think, is that you can create communities around shared interests and
Yes,
passions,
yes,
which with people far flung, which
amazing.
we couldn't do before, and that's
Exactly.
really a
I know.
gift.
Amazing. So tell us a little bit more about your new book then. And so it's poetry and prose.
It
And I
is.
think
It is.
you've organized into sort of three sections. I love the titles of your sections. Can you tell us a
Oh,
little bit more about it?
thank you, Lisa. Yeah, so the book is called The Weeping Degree, and it's essentially a very gritty collection of flash prose stories and poetry. And the book is about her story of a trauma and how it transforms through time and healing from a wound to a gift. So the first part of the book, it is organized. It reads a little bit like I call it a poemoir.
Oh, I love that.
So it's very imagistic and yes, anyway. And so I divided it into three sections. The first section is called The Home for Little Girls. And the second section is called The Buddha and the Pink Futon. And the third section is called Hands Across the World. So the book begins in a sort of bleak Canadian suburb where in an unofficial foster home, and then travels to a Nepalese Tibetan Buddhist monastery in Nepal, and to the UN in New York, and all of these different locations. So it kind of travels the globe.
Yeah.
And as I said, the first part, The Home for Little Girls, is the trauma, the very difficult. It's probably the grittiest part of the book.
Mm.
And then The Buddha and the Pink Futon is much about the geographical cure and finding hope through resilience, meditation, Buddhism, all of these different things. And Hands Across the World focuses on how people come together to heal one another, how when we share our experience, oh, I'm getting rushed, when we
Love
share
that.
our experience, we heal each other, really.
Yes,
And the world heals in some kind of way.
for sure.
Yeah, so
So
that's kind of a
powerful.
little intro to the book. The title, The Weeping Degree, people often ask me about this. I had a friend who was an astrologer for many, many years. Well, he's still my friend. And
Still
a
an
long friend or
astrologer?
an old friend. How do you say that? We were talking about that the other day. So he taught me this expression. I went to him at a very despairing time in my life, and he looked at my chart. And I've used my own astrological chart as often the actual placements as inspiration for the different stories and poems. And one of the things he said to me was that I had two placements in the weeping degree. But he encouraged me. He said, even though your life is really difficult at this time, at this moment in time, if you undertake the healing journey, it will bring you many gifts. And that was a really powerful thing for me to hear at that time, because people tended to say, oh, get over it, move on, the past is the past, you know think positive. I mean,
Mm,
would anyone say that to somebody in the
right,
Holocaust? I mean, they just wouldn't.
right.
Not that this was the Holocaust, but when people are going through a very dark night of the soul, or dealing with
Mhm.
trauma or violence of any kind, there's it's a long journey of healing that you need to go through. So the weeping degree, anyway, what it refers to is in our charts, which are always
Yeah.
around a pie chart. There are different houses for planets, and they're organized in 1 to 30 degrees. And the 28th to 30th degree is the weeping degree, which is when things kind of fall apart. When your
Okay.
plans don't come together, your dreams escape you, your relationships end, all of those things
Yeah.
before something brand new is born. And so
Amazing.
we have to always remember it's moving towards this new
Right.
rebirth, which is kind of, it feels like the world is going through a bit of a weeping degree right now.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, where our old structures are kind of
Mhm.
dissembling, because something new needs to be born,
Yeah.
something new, a new way of being, a new way of seeing, a new way of relating, all of these different things. So although it's a sad thing, it's a difficult transition, it's kind
Mm.
of like the birth canal.
Yeah.
It comes with promise of new beginnings.
Amazing. I love that. It sounds like a really very powerful book. And I think
Yeah,
readers will feel, hope from seeing that transformation. It sounds like a real a journey, like almost like a heroic journey moving forward,
yes.
right from, this sort of beginning to now. Amazing. I think that's
Thank you.
inspirational for sure.
Yeah, thank you. I hope I really wrote it to give people hope, because I think we can often get stuck in despair. And when we're in despair about the world, about our lives, about ourselves, about a feeling we might have that we can't seem to escape, we forget that it's always changing. It really is always
Yeah.
changing.
Yes.
And that there is hope. There is
Yeah.
hope. So,
Amazing.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
that. Can we talk about writing the flash fiction and the poetry? Do you have do you set out with an idea that you explore, or do you write and then see, okay, I actually have a bunch of poems here. I have pieces here that I want to. What did you like for this particular book? Did you know where you were headed with it, or did you just have a bunch of pieces you'd written and think, okay, how am I gonna, what am I gonna do with these?
Well, that's a good question, right? That whole process that something creative goes through, it's so fascinating.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably different for every book. But with this book, I had the title. I mean, I loved that title, The Weeping Degree. I thought, oh, I have to write about that. And I kept trying to write it. I started that book, the idea of the book, in the 1990s.
Yeah.
And I kept trying to write it as regular nonfiction,
Okay.
and I just couldn't make it work. I just
Yeah.
couldn't make it work. So it was languishing in a little file for a long period of time. And then during the pandemic, it was such a difficult time. I joined with a poetry community online. I started taking classes with a teacher named Judith Hill, who I had met in San Miguel de Allende. And Judith is like the queen of enthusiasm.
Yeah.
So it was really fun to go to these poetry workshops. And the first one she had was called Manuscript Clan. And I have to say, I should give a plug to my astrologer. It was my astrologer friend who told me to do it. He said,
Okay.
Kelly, if you turned your pen to poetry, you might find that if things flow very easily for you, you've got a mark for that on your chart. And I thought, sometimes when he says good things to me, I don't believe them. It can't be true. But I thought maybe, the world is going to hell in a handbasket. Here's the time. This is the time to pivot. And so I joined Judith's course called Manuscript Plan. And I called her up and said, Judith, I don't have any poems. I haven't written poetry since I was 17, but I have this idea. And maybe it would work better in poetry than. And she said, come, just write.
Yes,
just
yes.
So I had to every week produce,
Yeah,
and the pressure kind of blew down doors, I think,
yeah,
for me. And I had to find a form that I felt comfortable with. And I think the flash prose was kind of, halfway between poetry and halfway
yeah,
between prose. And so it seemed like, and I think poems, because they're more about our felt experience, I felt that I could get to they're kind of holographic.
right.
And I felt like I could get to the essence of these experiences without re-traumatizing myself or the
Yeah,
reader in a way.
right.
And it gave me a kind of distance, a kind of creative distance. So yeah, so that's how it was born. So really, I wrote
Amazing.
that book in the pandemic, and I just kept taking those courses. And the poetry online poetry community was incredibly supportive. People were wonderful. We would come together every week and read our stuff to each other. And it kind of got me through the pandemic, I have to say,
Yeah,
because we were having this great communal poetry experience together where we're supporting one another while,
yeah,
a lot of terrible, sad things were
for
happening.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah. So
that's
that was the
amazing.
nexus of that book. So
Yeah.
sometimes I think, it's a good thing to pivot. The pandemic forced a lot of people to pivot.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's good to step into a new way of writing
Yeah,
or a new structure, or
sure.
especially if you're stuck on an idea and it's not coming to fruition. I found that for myself. I need to just shake it up, write it from a completely
Yes.
different point of view, or and that usually will
Yeah.
help me. Sometimes I feel like I know the story and it's a house and I'm running around the outside of the house trying to find the door. Where's the door?
Right?
Where
That's,
is that door?
yeah, for
And it
sure.
can change with each piece,
Yes. Yeah.
so yeah.
I love that. And I love the idea that just trying a different form just opened it up. It's like sometimes even in writing fiction, changing the POV will open it up, or the tense even. Just kind of thinking about it in
Yes.
a different way will just be like, oh, why was it so hard? Because this feels easy now for some reason. And then your body kind of knows, oh, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. But I'm wondering if when you first started writing it or thinking about writing it in the 90s, um, maybe it was form, but was it also that it wasn't time? Like sometimes I think stories, they're not ready to be told. And then when the pandemic came, I don't know, I'm just speculating, but sometimes I think we
I
need it to
totally
just,
agree.
kind of
Percolating.
that'll,
It's
yeah,
percolating
percolate.
and marinating.
Yeah, yeah.
I had one writing teacher who I really liked, and I'll give her a plug, Barbara Turner Veselago, who teaches free fall writing.
Oh, yes.
And one of the things she would say is that things need to compost at least 10 years, and you shouldn't write about something that has just happened, which
Mhm.
I change my mind about that all the time. But it's funny. I'm editing right now a manuscript that I worked on many, many, many years ago, and my perspective is quite different
Yeah,
now. And her point was that it's difficult for us to detach from something so recent. So you might want to put all your notes down and write about it, but maybe not publish or edit it or finish it
right.
quite then,
Yeah,
because um yeah, it's hard for you to really, it's hard to see the forest for the trees because you're so caught up in it.
absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And just giving that time between events and actually writing about them, like that distance allows you to see things that you may not be ready to confront when it's so soon after. Like you might talk
Yes.
about it on a surface level, but not really be able to enter it. Like it can be almost re-traumatizing. So I have to
Yeah.
say, even with memoirs, like you need some distance, you need some space. But I like the idea of, yeah, write my notes down, write what happened, right? Like get everything down, but then maybe wait for some time before you start writing. It always thinks like 10 years seems like an awful long time, but like
Oh,
when you think about like any novel I've written, I think about when I actually started and when I'm actually at the process of publishing or getting close to it. It's years. It is there.
is
It's
it?
just
Yeah.
years, right? Like
Yeah.
it takes its time. It's not the kind of thing that you can just, these people who say they wrote their book in 2 weeks and whatever. I'm like, oh, I don't know what you wrote, but okay.
Yeah,
I
my
can't do
first
that.
drafts are a huge mess. I wouldn't want
Right?
anyone to see them. But yeah, I think that distance really helps a lot. Now, I can tell you, like there was one instance I was actually studying with Barbara when my mother died in
Right.
Mexico.
Right.
And I had signed up for a course with her where I was supposed to be sending writing in every 2 weeks. And I said, first I took a month off. I delayed a month.
Mhm.
And then I said, I don't think I was going through hell. It was crazy.
Yes.
And I said, I don't think I can do this. And she said, Kelly, you have to do it. 14 pages every 2 weeks, just write down what's going on
Yeah.
and just commit yourself to it. You don't have to publish it. You don't have to send
Yep.
it out in the world, but you'll regret it if you don't write it now. So in that instance, I did do that.
Yeah.
And I did end up polishing some of those pieces later
Right.
on. One of them
Right.
was longlisted for a CBC contest, but
Amazing.
I really, and they changed a lot. I worked on them for years, but at least I had what do you call the mud, the clay, the
Yeah.
original
Yes.
stuff there to work with. So that's an instance where, yeah, something happens to you, just write it all down, but
Yeah.
you don't have to put it out in the world in that format.
Yes.
Give yourself time to
100%.
process it. And
Well, it's probably what you needed in that moment. Like intellectually, you might have thought, oh, I don't want to do this. But then, it's such hard work that you probably needed to have that focus on getting your
and I
feelings
couldn't write
down.
about anything else because of what was going in my life. So I'm
Yeah.
quite grateful to her. Thank you,
Yeah.
Barbara.
Yeah.
Because she just said keep going, and I
Yeah.
realized you can write in the midst of hell. I mean, wasn't it
Yeah.
Nabokov who wrote in a bathtub?
Yeah.
So
Right.
really can, as long as you keep the expectations small,
Yeah.
and you could sort of write your way through chaos, as it were.
Yeah. Wow,
Um,
amazing. Amazing.
mhm.
So what are you working on now?
Well,
Or
I'm
just
really
are you book touring and doing all the things or you've started a project or
Yes, that's the hard thing is doing, because I admire you. You've got quite a few balls in
oh,
the
don't
air.
do that. Don't do what I do. And I keep telling myself I'm not going to do that anymore. And yet somehow I keep picking up other balls because I'm like, oh, that's shiny new thing over there. It looks fun.
Yeah, that looks like fun. I know I'm a bit like that too. I find everything interesting.
Yes,
It
exactly.
occurs. Yeah. So right now what I'm doing is I'm still going on my podcast tour for the Weeping Degree
Amazing.
and doing some teaching, and I'm editing. Well, actually, what I'm doing is waiting, constructive waiting, because I worked on a book. It's a war book, and it's with my agent. So I'm like,
Yes.
so
Yes.
waiting is really difficult, I find.
Waiting is difficult.
Not good at waiting. And
Mhm.
so I went back to a really old manuscript that I never really sent out into the world.
Mm.
And because, I spent years kind of in my cave writing and not, engaging with the
Right.
publishing world. So I'm editing it now, and it's one of the first things, it's a memoir, and it's one of the first things I wrote. So about going on a kind of spiritual journey. So it's really interesting to go back and read that now. So that's what I'm doing while I'm waiting
Yes.
and
Always
hoping for the
good to
best.
have something to do while you're waiting. Or
Yes,
if you have, yeah, just to if you're, querying or whatever, have some other thing to keep your mind going because yeah, the waiting is can be very painful. Very
it is very painful. And also, one of the things that's interesting about this process for me is now that so much time, talk about marinating a project, so much time has gone by because the events in the book took place in 2008. I it's about I don't know if you find this, but as you go along and you're working on a project, it's about letting storylines go. That doesn't
Yeah.
need to be there. That doesn't
Yes.
need to be there. And distilling
Yes.
that, the pearl, right?
Yeah.
What is this story really trying to say? And often it always surprises me.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think, how could I be surprised in a memoir where I'm writing about my own life? But I
Right.
am, because
Yeah.
often there's things coming up that I didn't expect.
Yeah. I
And
love
that's usually the good stuff, the stuff that
so
sort of,
good.
yeah, that scares
Yeah.
you a bit.
It's so good. And it's just like a light bulb moment of, oh, this is what this is about. Oh, and then you can go back and mold and reshape because you know now where the what this is what you're really trying to say. It's like I like your analogy earlier of like clay and that
Yes.
having that sort of base matter that then you work with and it kind of appears out of that. Even though you're working on it, then it's like, oh, that's what came out of that. Amazing. I don't know if artists are visual artists are probably doing it a little differently, but as a writer, I feel like sometimes that's what's happening is you're not really sure exactly what this is going to look like in the end until you get closer to it.
And it's hard. Sometimes I know for myself, I've struggled to trust that, but I have
Yeah.
to trust that,
Right.
and let it become what it wants to be, not what my
Yes.
mind wants it to do.
Yeah. And then once you start forcing it, it just doesn't feel right. Like this is what it's about, and I need everything to work with that. And then it's kind of stilted. But when you just trust the process, that's
Yes,
when the magic happens, I think.
I
I
think
don't
so
know.
too.
Yeah.
I think so too. And that is one of the things that's so, you know, transcendent about writing. Someone said to me, "Oh, writing about, childhood do you find that therapeutic?" And I thought, there's therapy, and I've done lots of that, and that's a completely different thing.
Right.
But writing is transcendent because you're making something beautiful
Yeah.
out of things that are the
Yeah.
difficulties of life or the
Right.
challenges of life, which we all go through. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I like thinking of it as
satisfying.
transcendence. And also then it goes out into the world and touches other people and they see what they need to see in that work for themselves. And it might not be exactly what we intended, but it's what they are bringing to the table. So I love the idea of
So
transcendence because it
interesting.
just,
That is so true as
spreads.
well, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
were you surprised sometimes by comments you got about your work?
Oh, always. I'd get
Yes.
these lovely, lovely emails from people and they would share things that were personal and I realized, oh, like this story I wrote that I thought was, like I was doing it, I was interested in the topic and I was whatever, whatever. And for whatever reason they were affected by it and brought
Mm,
them closer to a grandparent or to experiences in their life. And I thought, this is like magical that
yeah,
my words on a page that I've just like toiling away at my desk is now out in the world and somebody else is moved by it. Like there's nothing
yeah,
better, you
yeah.
know?
That's the
And if we
gift.
only had one reader and that person loved it and felt something from it, great, awesome.
Yeah, I
Like,
know, I
you know?
know. Yeah,
So,
that's the gift. That's wonderful. I've had some things like that too, where people have come up to me after readings and just shared,
yeah,
very personal things about their lives and that they've never shared with. I had someone say, "I've
right?
never told anybody this before," and I
Yeah,
thought, "Oh my
yeah.
gosh, do write it down."
Yeah, right? Yeah,
Yes,
that's my
go
instinct
ahead.
to do. Write it down. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so delightful. I just love it. So just want to remind folks that you have your some Zoom classes coming up and to keep an eye on your website for all the amazing workshops you run. And also to don't forget to sign up for Kelly Watts newsletter, which you can
Yes,
get on
please,
the
please.
on your website.
Yes,
And
it's on my website.
yeah, and then you'll know where Kelly is and what she's doing and can follow her journey. I'm really excited about your book. I think that's incredible and keep up the hard work. And also, I love that you took that break and don't forget to take breaks, right? That's a good
Yes,
reminder
yes.
to all of us because we just keep
Right.
going,
Nature
going, going.
rest.
Right?
Right? Nature has winter, nature goes
Yes.
slalom. We can do that too.
Yes. Take a
Yeah,
break and then you feel refreshed. And it's a great thing for all of us to remember to do. I know that's a hard thing sometimes to just kind of drop away from the world thinking, oh, I'm going to miss something or people would be
yes,
disappointed, but
FOMO.
you so need it. We all
Yes,
do.
we really, really do
Yeah.
need it.
Yeah.
Yes, and I was going to encourage people too. So I have my mini reviews on my website and also the Zoom
Yes.
classes at kellywatt.ca. But I
Yes.
also am on Instagram if you want to follow me. I
Amazing.
post poems and readings and different little things like
I
that
love that.
at Kelly Watt Author.
Oh, Kelly, this has been so delightful. I've really enjoyed chatting with you, and
Yeah,
I'm excited
ditto.
about your book and your journey, and can't wait to
Well, I
see what
wanted to
comes
say to
next.
you, thank you so much for having me. And thank you for what you're doing for other women writers. It's
Oh,
really a
thank
great
you.
gift. And
Oh, I appreciate that.
it's great to
Thanks so
have this
much.
space where they can come together and share all their
Yeah.
knowledge.
Well,
It's a
I learned something from everyone that comes. Every guest is just delightful to learn about their process and their work. And if I can shine a little light on what people are doing, um, then I'm happy about that too. So thanks so much. I
well,
appreciate it.
thank you. Happy writing.
Thank you too. Are you interested in pursuing your book writing dreams? Join me for my next group book coaching session starting on October 19th and running for 8 weeks. This session is ideal for individuals who have an idea for a novel or a memoir and need guidance to get started, or who have a draft and need a solid plan for revision. You will receive weekly group book coaching sessions and individual feedback every week on your submissions, weekly goal setting, and a supportive community of women writing. Hop on over to lisakovalabookcoach.com for more information or email me at lisabookcoach@gmail.com to register. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule to have a coffee break with us at Women Writing. Don't forget to subscribe to Women Writing on Substack. If you like this episode, share it with someone who needs a writing break and a little inspiration. Happy writing! Thank you to Michael Jensen for his original music and editing, and to Mia Jensen for the logo design.